Welcome to In the Kitchen with Dinah. Tonight we're making Swedish meatballs.
Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Gonna taste good, I know.
So I'm bringing you yet another one of my top 5 orders from my clients when I had my In the Kitchen with Dinah personal chefing. This one is Swedish meatballs, and over the years I've kind of come up with my own recipe. When we were first married, I got the spice packets that you could find, and it had the meat mixture and the sauce mixture in 2 different packages, and they were fine for a while. And then all the preservatives in them were making them sick, so I had to come up with a scratch one. So I've done just that. It's very pantry staples once again, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So I have 1.5 pounds of hamburger, and then we're going to cut up about 1/2 cup of onion. I like keeping my onion in foil because it doesn't stink up the rest of the fridge. It keeps my onion pretty fresh that way. So we're just going to dice this up quick. So the first part of this recipe, we're making a bunch of meatballs, and so we're going to get those. I'm going to show you how to do them a quick way. A lot of people pan fry them, and that just takes too much time. A couple days when I was doing my personal chefing, I was doing at least 10 pounds of meatballs, and there's no way I could sit and pan fry that many meatballs. So I figured out a quicker way to do it. I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. You want these pretty finely chopped. All right. And we're going to whisk up 1 egg. Dump that in. I'm going to grab 1/2 cup of milk. I know you like that, don't you? You go to your spot. 1/2 cup of milk going in. We're going to add probably, I never measured this one, so probably 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. Seasoned breadcrumbs. If you have stale bread, you can soak it in the milk and make a panade, which is a fancy word for milk soaked in bread. Or bread soaked in milk. Wow. I am on it today, aren't I? Salt and pepper. And last but not least, the secret ingredient, which is 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And this also goes in the sauce, so I'm going to set it over here with the sauce. All right. I'm also going to add a little garlic. Probably not even 1/4 teaspoon, maybe. All right. A lot of people don't like to do this, so use a spoon if you want, but I just dive in with my impeccably clean hands. Get it mixed together. You want to get all that egg and all the ingredients really well mixed in. If you want to, you could use 1/2 plain ground pork and 1/2 ground beef. That gives it great flavor. I just didn't happen to have any. All right, that looks pretty well mixed together. So let me wash and I'll be right back. All right, so now that we got clean hands, I'm gonna move this. Once again, we're gonna use that cookie scoop. A lot of people roll these by hand, But like I said, when I was doing 10 pounds, ain't nobody got no time for that. So you just pop them on your cookie sheet. By the time you get them in the sauce, you won't know that they're round anyway. You can also make meatballs. We're going to roast them in the oven because it's pretty darn fast. And then you can freeze them. So if you want to have them for spaghetti or like barbecued meatballs or anything, you can kind of just use like a meatloaf recipe to do that, which is similar to this, just leave out the nutmeg.
Question, while you're doing this, can you talk about why you don't use parchment on this recipe?
Oh yeah. So my cameraman just asked me a question. I don't know if you guys heard it or not. He asked me why I don't use parchment on this recipe, which is a great question. I don't use parchment when I'm roasting meats like this because I want them to brown, although it does make for easier cleanup. This is one time where I'm very willing to wash my cookie sheet and get all of it because I like all the brown bits that it forms when the heat meets the meat. Gets all browned. Okay, so we've got a 375 degree oven. We're gonna pop these in here for about 18 minutes. Now that your meatballs are in the oven, we're gonna start on the noodles and the sauce. So let's go over to the stove. So we will want a medium saucepan with water in it. I'm gonna crank up the heat because we've got egg noodles to cook for the sauce and the meatballs. You can also use rice if you want. I like it on egg noodles. And we're gonna get our sauce going. So we got a large skillet over medium heat. So while we wait for the water to boil, we're going to make some beef broth. Let me grab my recipe. So I've got a gravy shaker here. If you want to use like a jar, something with a lid to shake it up, I just use the better than bouillon. So we want about a cup of beef broth. I love having these better than bouillons around because you only take a teaspoon of it to make a cup of beef broth and it sits in your fridge. It's way less expensive than, and Costco has it, than buying all the cans of beef broth. I need a whisk. All right. So one day I was making this and I used hot water and the top exploded off here and it showered this whole area with flour and water. It was horrible. So be careful when you're shaking it. If you use hot water, make sure you keep relieving the gas here. I think I've still got flour stuck on my cupboards. That's when I was making a couple gallons of sauce. That was a funny day. Not a funny day. Okay, so we've got the beef broth all mixed. So go ahead and set that on the counter because we're going to add some flour to it, kind of like a gravy. First off, we're going to get 1 cup of heavy or whipping cream. Go ahead and pour that in there and get that simmering. Okay. Now we're going to add a couple tablespoons of flour to your beef broth. Okay, as soon as that's simmering, we'll get going. First off, we're gonna put some pepper. This is definitely where you're gonna wanna season to taste. Remember that you can always add, but you can never take back. All right, it's starting to simmer here. So now I'm going to add the beef broth and the flour mixture to it. I'm going to let that sit and simmer. So we're going to add probably another 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg to this. Some garlic. I do like me some parsley in this. I don't know if I have any. I don't have any. However, a bit of dill in this really brightens it up. And I would say probably another 1/4 teaspoon of dill. This is the, what's that in there? But it makes it taste really fresh. I always like adding it. If you have some dried parsley, I'd put probably a teaspoon or so in. So this is just going to sit and simmer until it's thickened. Then as soon as the meatballs are done, we're going to put those in the pool and get them all warm. It's already thickening. I'm going to turn it down. I can see our water's almost to a boil. All right, so this is a great time to taste your sauce. So grab a clean spoon. Probably will need more salt. And I want more pepper too. Okay, so we're just going to let this sit and simmer and wait for our water to boil, and then I'll be right back. All right, so our water is rapidly boiling. I'm just going to dump the whole bag of egg noodles in, and just cook them to package instructions, which is 8 to 10 minutes. So let's go 9 minutes. Start the timer. Give them a swizzle. And then the sauce is thickening up really beautifully. And you can just let that sit on low until we add the meatballs, and it's going to just sit and simmer even as we wait for the noodles to cook. Okay, these meatballs are all ready. They're nice and brown. They look beautiful. Okay, now we're going to put them in the sauce. All right, so I set them here next to me, and then I just plop them in the sauce one at a time. And we've got like a minute and a half left on the noodles, so it really comes out quite perfectly. All right, so now I'm just going to get them all in the bath, get them all saucy. We're just going to let them simmer here until the noodles are done. Hey, look at that. All right, so let's taste the noodle and see if they're done. Perfect. Okay. So turn off the heat. I'm going to go drain the noodles, and we'll be right back. All right, so while the noodles are still hot, we want to hit them with some butter so they don't stick together. Grab a knife here. Plus, who doesn't like hot buttered noodles? Plus, they keep in the fridge for leftovers a little better when they got some butter on them. Just toss that around. Okay, we are ready to plate up. Oh, these smell so amazing. Okay, so we are ready to eat. So we're gonna grab a plate here. You could serve this on a big platter and put all of your noodles down and then put the sauce on top, but I like to serve it separate and then I store it separately in the fridge. Boy, that is not the right. This will work better. Okay. I'm gonna turn off the heat here. So you get a nice bed of noodles down. Then I like to put about 5 meatballs for an adult portion because they're 1 ounce meatballs. You could do 4, then get a little sauce. If you want thicker sauce, you can just add a little more flour, but it's gonna set up when it cools. Okay, so let's go eat. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn the bells on for notifications. And comment if you make this. So I hope you enjoy eating your Swedish meatballs tonight and have a great night. All right, don't say all right. I'm gonna do all right, all right, all right.
I know you haven't. You got everything.
No parsley.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Oh, you know what? I think we were at the store and they didn't have parsley.
Oh, that's why. Do you want to ask Mama for dinner?
Yeah, I need his bowl.
Here she goes.
Wait. Okay. He gave me kisses.
Kisses. That's how you do it. Stand goal achieved. I'm a stander.
Gonna taste good, I know.